Hello, hello. I think I'm live. I try to be a couple minutes early just so if anybody wants to try to join live, you have a chance at finding the video here that's going. And if you can't, I totally get it. This will be recorded. So we'll be able to keep going. And I'm going to move my camera down just a little bit here. I always want to be able to see all of the measurements of the trimmer and the scoreboard, but I want to be able to, I'm going to naturally work close to myself, so I want to make sure that you see what I'm doing in camera. So that's why I'll try to make some adjustments and keep it going. Hello, Meg. Well, enjoy what you've got going this evening, and we'll catch you on replay. You'll have to be sure and post your finished product. Hey, Dawn. Hello and welcome. We've got a minute to go, and it's always a challenge, right? To keep it closed up where you can see it, but the camera high enough away that we can get a 12 by 12 image in camera. So, hello, Chris. Welcome. Just kind of keeping an eye out, and then we'll get going here. I don't know if you saw it, you may not yet, but just a little bit ago, hello Jan, I did post another video. It's a video that I did on the group called Paper Crafters Purge Flash Sale. It's a bunch of different sellers, and we did some demonstrations in that group in addition to the monthly flash sale. And I did an entire video demo that is recorded now, and it's right here in this free class group. Where I showed step by step how I made this little flower. So it just takes water and some circles. You can use Creative Memories circle makers, or you can freehand cut your circles. Hello, Lynn, welcome. I use circle punches. I wished I would have had one more, intermediate size there, but no big deal. And then these were a bunch of flower dies that I had that I just cut. Same technique. So this was my reminder to tell you guys about that, so I can get those out of the way. Put those over here. And while we're killing time, it does show 7 o'clock. I wanted to show you too, this is what I made with a canvas. I have so many now of these flowers. So it's an idea, if you're interested, of a little canvas that I did with all those paper flowers. So paint meets paper. All right. I show 7:01, so we're going to get going. We're going to make this guy. It's a cute, fun little pattern. I am not going to use this paper line again. I was all in the mood to use, it was by Echo Park last year, and it had a bunch of bees on it, and it was yellow and black and happy and fun, and I looked everywhere, and I cannot find that paper. So I had to go quick to Plan B. What I'm going to use is, I've got a leftover. I even wrote to myself because it looks so nice and new. This is a partial collection of Life's a Bowl of Cherries, so I'll work with that. The first thing we need to do is find 3 pieces of 12 by 12 paper. So I've got 3 red here, and I'm going to dig out my bone folder. And I think I might have dropped my favorite bone folder in the trash, so I've got to carefully empty my trash next time, or I'm going to throw it away. This one is a Martha Stewart, and it's so beveled that it will sometimes tear the paper very easily, so I have to be real careful. Yeah, that tool was kind of a last-minute idea, Dawn, but I like the tool also. All right, so you've got your 12 by 12, 3 of them now, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch, okay? So there's my one. Let's do it again. Two. And one more. Here's number 3. And I think that's all the scoring that we will do. So I'm going to get my scoreboard out of the camera. Make sure I'm in camera. Okay, so now where we scored it, I'm going to fold. Oh, well, I can still make use of that. This is a little stronger paper. Haven't worked with that before, but I will work with my little tear there. Your cardstock doesn't normally do it. This got a little glitter in it, so it's just a little stiffer. I don't even know where I got it. So again, on all three, I'm going to be careful here when I get to that middle so I don't bow it and tear it. But trust me, I've made every mistake in the book. I usually know how to fix every mistake. For you moms out there, I hope you had a nice Mother's Day. And for those of you who have moms here, I hope you enjoyed celebrating your mom. All right, so we've got our three. The next thing we're gonna do, I think I'm gonna get the camera out of my way. Sorry about that, a little squeaky. Okay, so I've got my glue now. I don't know what I glued there. And I'm gonna use art glitter for this. So any kind of white tacky glue. So Barely Art, art glitter, those are the two I've used, but I'm sure there's more out there on the market. So I'm gonna fold up now to the edge of that scored line. So we've got this inside, we're gluing that inside, okay? So right now I'm just folding it in half. I'm keeping an eye on my corner here and my corner here. And when I feel comfortable, I'm gonna take my finger and kind of come to the middle and then push to both sides. And that way I have a halfway good shot at not folding it crooked. So that's my first one. Oh my gosh, yes, graduations. Congratulations. So this is a cute little pattern that actually I used to own a scrapbook store, and I used to work full-time in corporate while I owned a store, and my manager and my part-time employee at the time, they're the ones who taught me this pattern. So I don't know the original origin of the pattern, but I can tell you that that's where I learned this from. Super duper easy. Okay. I was thinking that might have gone a little crooked, but I think we're okay. All right, so the next thing we want to do is glue these together, all right? So let's hope my art glitter is working. Seems to be happy. So here's my little tear. I'm just going to make sure I've got a good amount of glue along both lines of that tear. All right, fold over, press down, and glue. So we're making a big long pouch there. We're going to do that again on the next two. I'll bet you are tired. If there's any questions, I will be looking up every so often. Gotta look down also to make sure I'm hitting paper with my glue. All right. It's physically tiring, Dawn, and it's emotionally tiring. It's a lot. Oops, I'm gonna wipe that glue away so I don't accidentally glue my pouch shut. That wouldn't be a good thing. All right, so I need to bring the trimmer back into camera. And what I normally do is cut these to 6 inches, okay? And this is gonna be a page, so that's one of my pages here on the album, okay? Not the insert, but the page. So if you wanted a longer page, instead of cutting them to 6, you could cut them to 7 or even 8. I think that's getting a little too long personally, but I mean, you could make it a longer page if you wanted to. I'm gonna go with 6, and that way I get 2 from each fold that I did. So when I cut this, I now have 2 album pages, 1 and 2. You can also, this will make 6 pages because I've done 3 of these, but you can also just do 4 because you're going to have 4 front and backs, so that's 8, and then you're going to have 4 insert pages also front and back, so that's another 8. That's 16 sides to make an album. Okay, I was wrong. Hello, Diana, welcome. We do need our scoreboard one more time, because the other thing I do, so we've got our opening, right? So along the open edge, not my folded edge. I want my open edge here and my open edge here. And I'm now going to score it at 1/2. And this is really thick paper, so this might be a little hard to do. There we go. I'm really having to point that in. Okay, so there's one of them. Okay, and do it again. Make sure your openings are left and right, not top and bottom. All right. And last one. Okay. So now remember in the list of things to bring to class, I said if you had a crocodile, that would be great. If not, no big deal, because we can do it another way. All right, my crocodile is buried underneath here. There we go. So I'll show you both ways. We want a place where we can bind our album. Okay, so right at that seam that we just did, that 1/2 inch seam, I'm going to take my crocodile. I'm going to take the largest hole. I'm going to look up and make sure I'm in camera here. Give me 1 second. Need to come up a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to punch not a hole, but a 1/2 of a hole. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom here. So that's using a crocodile. If you don't have a crocodile, you can also cut them in a V or a notch. Let me see if I'm in camera here. I'm going to go to that diagonal and that diagonal right into that seam that we just did. So just like that. So here's the notch. All right. So for the rest of these, I'll just go ahead and notch them. I normally work with the crocodile. But either will work just fine. This takes just a little bit of time. So where that seam is that we just scored, I'm making my point come right to that scored middle. And nobody's really going to see this, so don't worry if one's, exact top to bottom. Whatever you do will be close enough. I got all kinds of little red triangles floating around here. Okay, let's get that cleaned up. I guess I can move my crocodile out of the way. Now, before I try to show you how we put this together, I'm going to take every one of these where we scored at the 1/2, and I'm going to fold it front and back just to get that moving on each one of those so that our album pages are going to move nicely and easily. So whoever's looking at it can see all the cute pages. And if you're using regular cardstock, it should work a lot easier than this. This is a heavier cardstock. So I didn't make it easy on myself tonight. All right, so here's all of our pages. I'm just lining them all up. And this is where that rubber band comes in. I'm just getting it caught down in that notch, and same thing down here. And that's what's going to secure all of our pages in our album. Isn't that so fun? Let me take a quick little drink of water. Okay. So now we need to make our insert pages that slide in here. So let me get, I think I was wrong. I think I said you needed 6 sheets, but I think you're only gonna need 5 because we can get quite a few out of these 2 pages. So let me get the trimmer. And I'm gonna put 2 pieces together. I'm gonna cut at 2 times. So we're gonna cut at the 6 mark. And then turn it a quarter turn, and we're gonna cut it at 5 5/8. Very close. So we're at the 6, quarter turn, 5 5/8. And we need 6 of them, so I need to do it one more time. I'm just gonna use this 1 sheet of paper. I'll save myself this whole piece in case I need it for something later. So it's already at 6. And let's make sure, because not every piece of paper is exactly 12 by 12. Yeah, so it took a little sliver off. And then, it's got a little wrinkle, there we go. 5 5/8. And 5 5/8. All right, so what it does, we want the longer, the 6-inch length to stick out. So that's why we cut it a little bigger than our album, because we've taken a 1/2 inch off here of our 6. So that 1/2 inch sticks out, which is what I think makes it really cute. So each one of these are going to go into our little pocket. And then, and this is the basic pattern. The rest is up to you and creativity. So I've made dog albums out of this, birthday albums, Christmas albums. Okay, and one more. So there you go. That's our album. So now we're going to decorate it. It's pretty, I mean, it's so easy, but it's pretty impressive. That's why almost any width of ribbon is going to work, but I like to cover up my rubber band with the ribbon. Hi, Carrie. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Whatever ribbon you want, you're going to want to kind of scooch it into that opening. Okay. One time I tied the back twisted, so I'm making sure it's straight. So there we go. I had to go to plan B because I had, my good friend Sharon had asked me the width of ribbon, and I'd said I was working with 1/2 inch, and that's when I thought I was working with that cute little B paper, which I had a really pretty sheer black with gold edges, which I thought would be so cute, but not so much. Okay, so you can see how you don't have to worry about that rubber band or even the edges and how perfect or imperfect they are. You just want to get that scooched into your little notches and then tie your ribbon. I think I've got pretty dull scissors, but let's see if I can get lucky. Well, I might have to pretty it up with another pair in a little bit. There is a place on these scissors that is still sharp. There it was. Okay, so let's do some quick measurements, and that way it'll just make it easier on us as we decorate all the pages. So this should be 5 1/2, and it is. So this is 5 1/2 wide. And then our height is 5 3/4 tall. 5 3/4. And I'm going to write that in a couple more places because I'm going to forget in 2 seconds. Maybe I'll just write it here. Hang on a minute. So 5 1/2 by, that's wide, by 5 3/4 tall. And then we'll measure the inserts in a little bit, but let's go ahead and decorate. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We need 12 of these pieces cut. So I'm not going to get fancy. I'm just going to cut some paper. I really do like this paper. Whew. Stay away from that a little bit. All right, let's add some color in there. So I'll start with that one. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so I think I can do all three at one time. So my height is what I'm going to cut first. So if it's 5 3/4, I want some room around it. So I'm going to cut it to 5 1/2 tall. And then it's 5 1/2 wide, so I'm going to cut to 5 1/4 wide. I'll do that again. 5 1/4. And save these, guys. I decorate with all these scraps, so save all your scraps. So what was my height? We need 5 1/2 tall. Make sure it's nice and straight. And then 5 1/4. One more time. We should be able to glue a lot of these in. Oh, I forgot one thing. I had picked out cream as my accent paper. So for the cover, the front cover, and I'm only going to do the front, I want it to be that same, and it doesn't matter, there's no direction on this, it's a solid. So I'm just going to go 5 1/2 by 5 3/4. And on the other, I used white glitter, but this one I had to move quick since I couldn't find my paper. Oh, duh, Beverly. I didn't cut it smaller. 5 1/4. 5 1/2. Okay. So here's my cover, and I've got a little accent layer here, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. Hello, Judy. Happy Mother's Day. Now, here's where I like to move to my art glitter glue. I mean, my Fabrifix. Number one, it behaves better for me. And it's got a little bit more slide time. You need this way or this way? This way. They're really close in dimensions. You might have to check before you commit to gluing down. All right, so now of the papers that I cut, I'm just going to see what I feel like I want my cover contrast to be. Kind of like that one. Dots are okay too. Let's stick with some flowers. Let's see what else we have. We have green. We don't need to bring the green in yet. I think that I'm going to go with these flowers. So I just kind of get the personality of my front cover. So I'm going to take this one down 1/4 inch on height and width because I've taken that dimension here on the contrast paper. So that will just be centered up, and then it matches up. I went with the cream because it's not a white background here, it's cream. Ooh, now that's my all-time fave. That's what I'm going to use. Do you guys do that? Tell me you do, right? You go to flip the back side to put your glue on and go, oh no, I love that paper more. I do that a lot. But just look how pretty that is, right? Okay, so then I'm not going to do a lot of thinking on the rest of my inside pages. I'm just going to glue them down. Because we've I can't hold it and glue. All right, let's throw some glue on and then I'll open it up. Throw a little bit in the middle to avoid a bubble. And I just love that I can eyeball top, bottom, left, right, and have a feeling that it's nice and straight. And then I'm gonna do a little flip-flop. I don't want them to be the same. So I'm gonna glue now on the dots so that the cherries for this 2-page spread will be what's showing. Good, Dawn. Can't be alone in this. All right. So now I've got this guy. We'll go ahead and do the flowers. I'm going to say goodbye to the pretty blue this time around. I'm going to put the green on the side because I thought that was a little too busy, although it would be fine because if you're in a paper collection, it's all going to go together. So I'm just going to quiet it down and lay that green on top. All right. And let's see, I'm still in that section. I did not feature the cherries this time, so let's do that. It's nice when you don't have to spend a lot of time designing. You can do some bulk cutting and gluing. And make sure that you're gluing it right side up. Okay, now I am going to get a little fancy. I'm going to put my dots back on this page. And on this next page, I don't want to have to forego the pretty blue background. Those cherries are upside down. We're going to go this way. I love cherries. I love cherry pie. I love Bing cherries. And because I love it so much, I'm going to do a double page spread with it. Okay, we're getting down to it. Let's decide. You know, I'm going to flip-flop these because a couple of pages ago I had green on the right side. So I'm going to put the print on the right side and I'll throw the green on the left just to give it some variety. I've got one more for the back cover, and I'm going to put this cute print there because it keeps the blue along with the ribbon that we've got and that theme that we've got. People don't look a lot at the back cover, but you want it to go together. Okay, so now I'm going to pull all of my inserts out. And the same thing, we're going to need 12 of these. So let's see. One's a little tricky because I wanted it to be as wide as possible so that it would fit nicely into that pocket. So we're going to need 3 pieces again. Let's say with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yep. Double checking myself. Sometimes I get to talking. All right, let's see. We have it. I'm gonna want my cut apart, so I'm gonna save one of those. We haven't used that guy, that's fun. I really hate using my cut apart, but it looks like I ordered quite a few of these. So we'll use this guy. 1, 2, that's another one. See if we can get some variety. I might have used everything already. Oh, nope, we haven't used this guy. Looks like it's a blue interior. Oh no, that's the same one. No, it's not. No, it's not. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna lay all 3 of them together. So if I make a mistake, I do it for all 3. Kidding, kidding. Okay. Those are my cut aparts. So it was 5 5/8. So I want to take a quarter off. 1, 2. So I'm going to make it 5 3/8 tall. And it was 6 wide. So we'll make it 5 3/4 wide when we glue these to our insert pages. Whoops, stop slipping, Beverly. Okay, so there's 3 of them. So I need to cut this one to 5 3/4. Again, save all of your scraps. You might use quite a few of them. Because I'm going to probably use scraps on this, I'm going to go ahead and take off my UPC because it's easier to do it now than when I've got a little piece left. I've learned the hard way. So 5 3/8 is our height. That didn't cut very well. And then 5 3/4. One more time. 5 3/4. All right, so let's, whoops. Now, when I glue these on, I keep in mind of what I want to see on my little edge, because this is the little part that's going to sneak out, right? That's what peeks out right here. So that's why I want a nice variety. So we'll go ahead and start with this. What is that? It's not quite a plaid. It's not quite a gingham. It's kind of a plaid gingham. And I gotta see here. Can't be red on top of red. I'm just kind of squaring it up. And I'll go ahead and flip to the back, same thing. So I'm just going to use this cut apart piece, which is our title piece. So cute. If that said cherries, I wouldn't mind putting that whole thing on there, but it doesn't. And these guys are cute too, that you could cover this part up later with decoration. But we're going to keep it simple tonight. We're going to go simple and easy. All right, that's one of our inserts. The other thing, let me point out too, when you're gluing, because you're going to be slipping these in and out of the pocket, you want to make sure that everything's got a good seal so that these papers don't start to catch on you when you're slipping them in and out. So be sure you get to the very edges the best you can. So here's another piece. I think that's so funny that it all ended up on the inserts to be so blue. It'll be like we designed it that way. So I'm paying attention and making sure all the edges are getting glued. And I'm going to refresh just for a minute to make sure if you've made any comments, I'm not missing those comments. Okay, I need to make sure that's right side up. Okay, here comes another one. Oops. Do I dare? Because What if later I could throw a little piece just like that? Isn't that so pretty? I think I'm going to do it. There's nothing wrong with those pieces. So I'm going to put this one up front. Variety. That's good. And I just know I'll want to cover that up later. All right. We're getting there. I know this is kind of like watching paint dry, right? Okay. One time I was watching this lady teach, it was something about cards or gift cards, and every time she made a little heart in the middle. I don't ever think about that, but I thought it was so cute. What am I doing that side? Okay, so I'm going to do these words. Okay, here we go. Just had to order myself some more Fabrifix glue. I go through this so fast. And if you joined late and missed what I was talking about earlier, I did upload a video that shows how to make those little crumpled flowers if you want to decorate your cover with some crumpled flowers. It's great to do that at the end of your decoration so you can take scraps and punch your circles out of scraps. Did I miss one? I feel like I've got an extra piece of paper here. I gotta go back and see which one I didn't glue down. I didn't flip the side. All right, which one of you guys? There it is. There it is. Let's see. I like this too. So if I can see Simply Sweet, Life is Sweet, and I can cover that up. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue it down. Who cares if it's not perfectly cut? Okay, so we've got lots of scraps already, pre-cut that measure the way we want them to. Now this one I need to clean up. It was kind of a rough cut. So I'm gonna get that cut nicely to 5.5. So I could just lay this right along here, and that's all I'd need to do. I could put a little doodad here, covers up the rest of that sweet, and that's how I would decorate my pages. Now, one thing I want to make sure, kind of make you aware of, and let's do one. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this. And then I'm going to come back with one of my cut aparts. And I'll finish covering that half of a word right there. Again, when you add your paper, you want to get a good seam, get it sealed between the two so that it's not snagging when you want to slip it in and out of your pocket. But you want this piece to be pretty clean because that's going to be what peeks out. So you want to think about this is the end on the back side, right? So here's our front, flip to the back. This side is what we want to decorate, okay? It makes it consistent. So 5 3/8 is what we need. So I just throw that on just like that. You don't have to do them all along the edge. You can do them on the bottom. Just keep in mind that a little bit's going to show. Or I've even taken these little guys. That one's not a good one. But even this red. And laid that just up a little bit. But it's a nice place to anchor a photo, right? So you could do something like that too. So I'm not going to go in depth in designing each one of these pocket inserts because you can get as creative as you want. But let's just pick the order we want these to slip in here. Like I want some red. And then we can go cherries again. I want all my cherries to be going the right direction. Have I done that one? I have. All right, so let's do that. All right, and then let's do another red. Let's lead with the red. So go. Yeah, all right, I like it. This is the order I'm going to slip them into my pockets, okay? So I just did a little variation of the colors. Come here, where's that pocket? There it is. Here's my next pocket. I have to let go of these. And last pocket. All right, so the last thing I'll do with you tonight is I will kind of finish decorating my cover. And so this is where I go to my scraps. So I like to create a little bit of layer feel. So I'm gonna do this piece right here. I like that a lot. And I like some red too. And I don't want this plaid competing with the ribbon. So I'm gonna put it to the bottom and I'm gonna put this guy, the red dots, up to the top. So we said this is going to need to be 5 1/4 because I've got my cheat sheet right next to me. And then double check because I mess things up all the time. Yeah, that's not right. 5 1/4. Let's go 5 1/2. Whoops. I'm just going to take 1/8 off. What did I do there? 5. Okay. So that's my bottom. So then if this was 5 3/4, I must have cut this to 5 1/2. Oh yeah, double. 5 1/4. Phew. All right. And the other thing I do is I purposely come in a little bit so that your eye gets to see this layer of print, this layer of print. Same thing there and there. All right. So I'm going to glue down my blue first. And you could add more and more layers if you like, but for a little album like this, I'm not inclined to do a bunch. Okay. All right, and I've got a scrap of my ivory that I can bring in again. And I've got, what didn't come out, I've got an old scrap of plaid, which might be fun to bring in. So we'll see. Let's go to the cut aparts now. And I'm gonna see what I might like to be my sentiment, my focal point. And for this one, I'm going to see if this is too big. I'm going to cut that out. So I'm going to try this guy. So I did not cut these apart before class. So bear with me here. going to take all four edges. You have to pay attention so that you don't accidentally cut apart another piece. It's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. So I can get this piece right here. So now I can cut this along the edge and top here. All right, let's see how that lines up. I think it'd be really cool, but I don't like the dot and the dot. So I'm going to add another little layer of maybe this green. I think that was 5. And if not, they don't have to matchy-matchy. But I want to break up this red if I'm going to lay that right along. And I don't like, it's the same, practically the same design. So I'm going to flip this way. And see how that stands out a little bit better? So I'm going to glue this down kind of centered up here. Okay. I'm going to take a look at my ivory scrap. And I had a little bit of glue ooze. Now what I love about this Fabrifix glue is if while it's damp, if you just rub back and forth, it'll just rub away into a little ball. And you know, all of your art glitters and those kind of glues, they say dry clear, and they do dry clear, but they dry clear and shiny. So that's another reason when I'm decorating my albums, I will move to my Fabrifix. Okay, here's my scrap. So this is my little fast, cheat way, and most of you probably know how to do this. I'm just going to go right up to the top and the left and glue it down, and then I'll trim the other 2 sides instead of doing a bunch of measuring. Because if you don't have to measure, why do it? And I just want a little bit so it balances with what we've already put on the album. I'm just eyeballing. And when I've messed it up, which I haven't here, but if I've messed it up, I'll slide it to make it even again while the glue's still wet. So this is what I would put on this album, and I would call that done. So there you go, guys. Here's the pattern and kind of my approaches to decorating. I would do the same thing on our inside pages, right? So I would find my scraps, and I'd probably bring a little blue into here, throw some top and bottom, and you've got all these cute little cut-aparts then that you can add a few spots here and there. So thanks for joining me. I hope you like the little pattern. It's been a good staple over the years. I'm probably going to trim these guys off a little shorter with better, sharper scissors, and we'll call it done. So if you have any questions, please put a comment here. I'm happy to answer. I should get a notification if there's a question. And if you do this project, please post a picture. I love to see the finished pictures of what you've done. All right. Have a great rest of your day at whatever time you're watching. And I'll catch you again when I'm inspired and I come up with another freebie idea. All right, guys, take care. Thanks, Dawn. Bye, guys.